Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Suitcase Coder, the podcast, a podcast in which I talk about my journey from bootcamp grad to developer to hopefully one day a traveling remote developer. That is my goal, and I hope that one day I will achieve that. And so until then, I would like to take you along every step of the way. Before getting started on today's episode, I wanted to touch up on last week's episode and I have a couple notes from then. Basically, that was my very first recording of this podcast and I just sort of went with it. But yeah, so if it was a rough start, rough listening to, I do apologize. If you're watching on YouTube, which I do record these and upload to YouTube, I am using just your typical headphones that are plugged into my laptop. And that's my biggest tools, my laptop and these headphones. And this cool software called loom.com, which I will link to below or add to the podcast description. So yes, about last week. What else? We talked about distractions, which is why currently I am recording this in the morning, first thing, still in my pajamas, if you can tell. So I'm still in my pajamas. It's the first thing I'm doing because I don't want to get distracted throughout the day. And this is something that I want to do on a weekly basis. And I figured what's the best way to get it done is to wake up and just do it. Ooh, also one last note. If you participated in last week's weekly challenge, I would encourage you to go over to my site, which I have pulled in the background of my video recording. It's www.suitcasecoder.com. And on there, you will see a little bit about me. The sun is really bright. A little bit about me, and then as well as the weekly challenges will be posted on that page, along with a link to the solution. So if you haven't participated and you want to give it a try, just head on over there. You should be able to find everything there. Yeah, and let me know how it went, what you guys thought about it. So back to this week. So I graduated from my coding bootcamp last year in July or August of 2019. And when I did graduate, I hit the floor running. I was trying to apply to about 10 jobs a week, which was a lot. I was networking like crazy. I was sending in my resumes all over the place. I was reaching out to people on LinkedIn. And I got as far as this one interview where I got to the very last interview. They introduced me to the team. Everything was going great. I thought I was going to get this position. And then I just never heard back. And obviously, applying to jobs can be extremely stressful and discouraging. It is a lot of work. And I know that happens with all industries, with all levels of positions, and it happens to everybody. It's just like the nature of applying to jobs. The thing with applying to developer jobs is the fact that it's more than just personality. Like there's actual hard skills that you have to prove that you know or prove that you're willing to learn on the job. So I think that makes it a little bit more stressful because not only are you going through a normal interview process, you are also going through the process of taking these tests or challenges on the interviews. And that can be daunting and exhausting because not only are you going through the process of applying to jobs, but you're also having to practice and stay on your toes, which obviously you have to do anyway if you want to be good at your job. Like coding is just like any other language. If you don't do it for a while, then you slowly start to forget it. And it's something that you have to keep up with. So it's hard because it's difficult and it's time consuming and it can get annoying. But at the same time, if you're doing it well, it's just a matter of you being a programmer and putting in the time and putting in the hours to practice on a weekly basis, if not daily. And I do want to talk about on this podcast, just like the different things that happen throughout the process of applying for dev jobs and what we can do and how to improve that. And I think I'm going to break that down in upcoming episodes. But today, what I want to talk about is like the importance of taking a break and stepping back to your application process and looking at what you have to offer and what you're doing to make sure that when you're applying to jobs that you're giving it all you have And I think that's something that came naturally to me. As I mentioned before, I was hitting the floor running. I was doing everything I thought I had to do. And then I had some personal issues that I had to attend to. So I kind of naturally took a break from applying to jobs. And luckily, around that same time, I was offered a freelance job, a part time freelance job. So luckily, like financially, I was able to kind of take that break and slow down on my applying to jobs. But from that, I think I have found the importance of taking a step back and seeing what I had to offer. Because we're developers, because we're programmers that are trying to get you, I mean, if you're listening, you might be an entry level developer and you might be wanting to get your first programming job. You may have been working for 30 years, but not as a programmer. So the important thing is, what do you have to offer? Like, I had a couple of capstone projects that I did on my boot camp, and one of them was and is terrible. It was a huge learning curve. And I took away so much from that project because I feel like it's what made me a programmer because I struggled with it so much. And as crappy as the end result is, it functions, quote unquote, and it's something that I can show for. And not only just show for that it's like a completed project, even though it's crappy, it's something that I like learned from and can look back on and say, oh, this is how I would have done it better, which it's still on my to-do list to redo it and actually make it better to show that I have learned and that I have grown since that first capstone project. So, yeah, my action item for you would be to take a look at your resume and see what programming or coding related things you have on your resume. Do you have any capstone projects that you might have worked on? Have you worked with friends on it? Did you take maybe a couple Udemy courses, your boot camp? And coming from a boot camp grad, I think they're becoming so popular and so, the norm with all of these career changers that I think it's becoming to the point where, like, okay, good, you went through the step of doing a boot camp. What's next? What do you have to show for it? Because you can go through the boot camp and kind of like slide by and do the work. But the thing is, the reason to join the boot camp is to be able to be a programmer. So you have to prove yourself that you are a programmer, whether that's going on GitHub and finding challenges, coding challenges that you can practice on a daily basis, or partnering up with another friend or strangers. That's another upcoming episode that I'm excited to talk about, the importance of finding developer strangers and working on projects with them or attending maybe workshops. Yeah, so my action item to you is take a hard look at your resume, take a hard look at your portfolio if you have one. If you don't, that would be a great place to start. Make it simple, make it using HTML, CSS. Think of it as another portfolio project that you would add to your portfolio, except for it is your portfolio. I think hiring managers and companies that you apply for want to see initiative from you to continue programming and excitement about projects that you're working on. And something that I learned from my boot camp was that find projects that excite you. I am interested in yoga, for example, and I created an app called Yoga 101. You can check it out on my portfolio, aka website. It's all there, where I created an app that helps you learn the different yoga positions and names for those positions so that when you get to class, you're not feeling lost or intimidated. So that was something that I was interested in. And I took that and I was excited to work on it because I was excited to see the end result and to share the end result with others. So again, my suggestion would be to look at your resume, see which programming related projects you have. If you don't have any, get working. There's no excuses. Check out my website. I'm going to be posting weekly challenges. GitHub has a lot of great ones. Google is always the best resource. Literally just type in coding challenges and get to work. Start on a project, start small, start big, start with a partner. The thing is to just start. So with that, I think I just want to share that I'm kind of in the same boat right now. Like I said, I have a lot of capstones. I worked on a couple of projects here and there since graduating. But during this time that I have not been applying to jobs, I realized, okay, I could use a couple more projects on my portfolio to show that I really have not only learned to program, but kept up with it and continue to keep up with it because it is something that I enjoy doing. And I think that's really important for the application process to any jobs. I think it'll kind of set you apart from the rest. Yeah, I think this break has been really good for me, and it's kind of just shed a light on what's missing and what more I can do. So, that being said, I'm going to leave you with the weekly challenge, which will be to, first of all, create an array with 10 names, then create a function that returns only names that are shorter than 4 letters long. As you can see, I will post the weekly challenge on my website for reference. And then on Monday, so the day before this airs, I post the answer to those challenges also on my website. So check those out and let me know what you think of the podcast, what you want to hear more of, and how I can help you. And if you want to reach out, please feel free to do so. I love hearing from people because the purpose of this is not only to talk about my own journey, but help others who are going through the same journey as I am. Thanks for listening. Bye.